So I have finally, after what, about 14 days roughly, gotten over the illness. Now I can't say what the illness is. We all know what it is. It's a global freaking pandemic. Because the last time I used that word towards the beginning of the video, it got shadow banned. But something I did that really kicked it like hard, I did a vitamin infusion. Now this is not medical advice. This is just something my doctor did for me, was a vitamin infusion, and it killed all the fatigue, weakness, just, I don't know. It's like, it was like night and day improvement for me. Just something for you guys to think about. But listen, I feel like I've been so damn sick and out of the loop, and then like I fell asleep and then woke up and Bitcoin's like $16,000. I mean, it's like everyone's dream. Like everyone said, why can't I just buy Bitcoin today and then like fast forward 10 years and then, you know, cash out my big Bitcoin? You know what I mean? It's kind of like that feeling. I feel like I've been out of the loop, but we've got to talk about the $16,000 Bitcoin, because the thing is, there's enough evidence out there right now to support the fact that the move we are seeing right now is not something from the average Joe like you and I, but from the higher levels. We're talking the minority. We're talking the wealthy. I don't know of a time in history, okay? I don't know of a time in history, and I want you guys to point it out if you know of when in history that we have seen this, to where the price of Bitcoin starts finding new highs, starts setting new records as a result of the wealthy buying, okay, and like the masses not. I mean, this is kind of strange. And you know what actually brought this up for me? I need to share this with you guys. This is a tweet right here that you can see in the corner from Crypto Daily. Now, he said one of the first things new people entering or re-entering the crypto markets will do is research it. Search trends are 10 times lower than previous highs. Demonstrable proof that buying right now is likely done by the minority rich rather than the majority average. And it makes sense. I mean, look at the chart. Look at the amount of effort of research being done right now in the Bitcoin. It's very minimal. It is very, very minimal. It's like we are truly seeing that time period kick in to where the power is shifting. And this power shift is really becoming clear on all fronts, not just one, but multiple fronts. Look at the institutional products that are coming out there. I mean, look at China right now. They even got something else that came out. World's second biggest bank to issue $3 billion in bonds tradable for Bitcoin. But here's a question I propose to you when it comes to this new bond tradable for Bitcoin. Is this a product, okay, for the average Chinese, or is this a product that is for those who have a whole hell of a lot more money than the rest of us? On the surface layer, it would appear that it's something available to all their clients, since the minimum purchase is $100. The yield is 0.75% at maturity, which, I mean, if you compare that kind of product right there to what we have in the DeFi realm, this can't even touch it. This is pretty damn pathetic compared to what we have in DeFi. But just saying, it appears on the surface, based off of a $100 minimum, that this would be available to everybody. I am willing to bet you that China has the same laws that we have in the US about accredited investors. I am willing to bet you that these bonds are not going to be touched by people that are not classified as the equivalent of an accredited investor. Now you might be asking, so where are we going with this? What does all this mean? Well, I mean, let's put it this way. If you're looking for that scenario, the price of Bitcoin is going to pump and probably find new all-time highs. We are in that scenario. But the thing that I'm going to ask again is, where in history have we had a time where the price of Bitcoin was fully held up by the wealthy and not by the masses? The reason I ask this question is, what happens when Bitcoin does break 20,000? We're heading for it. We're heading for it right now. Bitcoin is heading to set some new records. We've already broken previous records. It's very clear we're heading for that 20K. My question, though, is with this new 20K done in a way that is sustained by the wealthy, okay, institutional players, banks, okay, does it fall down? Will it correct in the same way that it's corrected previously, or is it going to exercise a lot more restraint? That's the question. You know what I mean? This is where I'm actually reaching out to you guys to get your perspective on this, because the simple answer is I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of something like this, but I won't lie. It's very exciting. Now, with excitement always comes a little bit of FUD. Now, before we talk about Ray Dalio's, what he says about Bitcoin being outlawed, I'm going to go ahead and lead with this. I don't believe Bitcoin per se will ever be outlawed, okay? I do believe regulation's coming. But before we dive into that, I want to talk really quick about some union, which is something I've been telling you guys about like forever. Like since the day I heard about it, and I've been trying to hunt down information, I've been sharing this with you guys. They just closed $3.9 million in private fundraising. They got Alameda. They got Bearing Waters. They got Spark Capital. They got AAM, Solidity Ventures. They got 3 Commas, Clusters VC, Alpha Chain, Black Edge Capital. I mean, they got some heavy hitters on this freaking project. I don't know what else I could do to emphasize how massive of a project this thing is going to be. To summarize, okay, what they are going to accomplish, actually read the article for yourself. Find them on Twitter. I'll try to remember to put the link for their Twitter down below. But they raised $3.9 million. And their whole focus, okay, is to create products that have one goal. And I need to move myself out the way. One of our goals is to create protection products and an ecosystem that let people participating in DeFi sleep well at night, said Michael Beck, project lead for Union. He is the CEO. We're amazed at the incredible support our project has received, and we're excited about the future and the role in strengthening the DeFi marketplace. They are providing a solution, an insurance solution, an insurance layer that I'm telling you has got the institutions excited. And here's the best part. Here is the best freaking part. Right now, if you look at what DeFi is doing, as far as how it's growing, and if you look at who is investing in DeFi, it was just broken within the past 24 or 48 hours that institutions are now investing in DeFi and playing in DeFi. Think about that for a second. One thing institutions are never cheap on is insurance. They like to know that they are protected. Union could not come at a more perfect time, and I'm telling you, they couldn't have better investors. This is, in my opinion, if you look at these guys, this is strategic investment. Alameda especially, they have made some really, really big contributions in the crypto space. They have actually closed the gap for the institutional and crypto world. I mean, they really brought that together. They really have. They've made good products. And I have to give one more update just because I owed this for you guys like days ago, but I was too damn sick. Parsec is now partnered with Chainlink, by the way, guys. Chainlink. So Parsec, 2 weeks ago, got money from Binance. Okay, so Binance said, hey, listen, we're going to incubate you. We like you. You've done a good job. I'm telling you, Parsec can go places. And then they wisened up. And they partnered with an entity like Chainlink. And now I'm going to tell you why this is good. It's good for 2 reasons. One, integrity. So now they partnered with something that has a lot of integrity. And 2, community. By partnering with Chainlink, now that they're going to be able to borrow from the Chainlink community, because those who support Chainlink, which is a really massive community, sees this partnership, it'll gain new interest, gain new followers. So this, in my opinion, was freaking brilliant. Absolutely a brilliant move and a brilliant partnership. So definitely make sure you go check out Parsec as well. So getting back to what Ray Dalio said about Bitcoin and the outlawing, I don't believe that you'll see Bitcoin outlawed. You see, Bitcoin has created whole new worlds of revenue streams, not just for us, and not just for the banks, but also for governments. That has, and you might be thinking to yourself, I'm not quite sure how. What do you mean a revenue stream? When you create compliance and you create laws, you create regulations, right? You create fines, you create penalties. Those fines, those penalties are money in the bank. Well, money in the bank for the government, not for you, unfortunately, but for the government. And the diversity and complexity of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies offers so many opportunities for revenue for the US and many other governments across the world. So the idea that it just becomes outlawed, I just don't believe in that. I just don't believe in that. There's too much money available, not just for the banks, not just for you, but for the government by regulating it. Now, that being said, I firmly believe that more regulation is coming in. I do. I really do. Now, a lot of people argue right now that, the Trump administration is probably not the best administration for cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. And that's actually a fair thing to say, considering a tweet that Trump did put out in the past. Let me move myself out the way. He tweeted once that not a fan of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, which are not money, and whose value is highly volatile and based on thin air. Now, I don't agree with that because so is the US dollar. It's based off of thin air. But you also got to remember, the former US President Barack Obama called them Swiss bank accounts. It's like having a Swiss bank account in everyone's pocket, basically, is what he equivalent having Bitcoin to. Now, if you don't know, Swiss bank accounts used to be the decentralized private account thing. It used to be the place for the wealthy to go hide their money. It used to be untouchable. It was the Obama administration, the Democratic administration, that went in there and shut that shit down. Okay, they freaking shut that shit down. Okay, so in my opinion, with the Republican Party in place, all you gotta do is pay your bills. Pay the cost of doing business and you're good. With the Democratic leadership in there, what happened to Swiss bank accounts is going to happen to crypto. As far as the idea of privacy, the idea that you can have a Swiss bank account in your pocket, I have a feeling that the regulation will go just a little above and beyond with the Democratic leadership. That's just my opinion. And a good case in point, if you look at what's happening right now, IRS successfully prosecute first Bitcoin tax case, order to pay over $8 million in restitution. Now, this right here was a result of someone who did a shit ton of fraud and scamming and a bunch of bullshit. But he did utilize Bitcoin, and the IRS did go after him for tax evasion. All he had to do was not break the freaking law and pay his damn taxes, and he would have been just fine. Case in point number 2, U.S. law firm says the IRS is coming after Coinbase users who evade taxes. So if you use Coinbase, something that many of you may not have realized, you get issued a 1099K at the end of the year for your Bitcoin transactions. And that 1099K is sent to the IRS. Now, you have to hit a certain threshold. So if you hit a certain dollar threshold, they do report that to the IRS. And that being said, I really feel that with a Republican administration right now with Bitcoin, that's all you got to do. It's the cost of doing business, and the cost of doing business is actually freaking cheap. Now, speaking of government intervention with cryptocurrencies, there's still one case right now that's bothering the shit out of me. And I've been digging and digging and digging, can't find any clarification. Remember the feds, how they seized $1 billion in the Silk Road Bitcoin? So basically, this stuff was hacked once, okay, by a hacker, which Ross Ulbright knew who it was. And then this hacker decided to move that Bitcoin. Somehow, they convinced him to give up $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, it wasn't just $1 billion of Bitcoin. The age of this Bitcoin actually predates forks. So he had some Bitcoin Cash forks, Bitcoin SV forks that he was owed money for, Bitcoin Gold forks. I mean, the $1 billion, I'm telling you, is probably worth $2, maybe $3 billion, a whole hell of a lot more than what it is right there. But there's a lot of goddamn money. What would it take for you to surrender that? Because the feds are saying that the person surrendered that. I'm of the consensus on this one that I don't believe the person just surrendered it. I am wondering if the U.S. government has figured out a way to seize Bitcoin. How many times have we seen cases of them saying they've seized Bitcoin? We're not talking $100,000. We're talking millions of dollars of Bitcoin in some cases. This is $1 billion. Who gives that up? How do you get someone to give that up? That's the dilemma I'm in right now. I'm really wondering if the U.S. government has figured out a way to seize your Bitcoin. But ultimately, I have to disagree with what Ray is talking about as far as outlawing. This is not going to happen, in my opinion. I think what's going to happen, more regulation. It's going to involve having to be more of an accredited investor, more KYC, more AML, and all that. The whole purpose of all that is to make sure you're paying the tax man. You're paying your dues. That is it. Here we got it. It's a cost of doing business. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more of that come into the crypto space, but outlawing Bitcoin, I just don't see it happening. How do you make Bitcoin illegal right now? Grayscale, $9 billion. Okay, this is a freaking U.S. entity. It's got $9 billion worth of Bitcoin in its holdings. It's a pretty massive, pretty powerful entity that I don't believe the U.S. government can go and take on in court right now. Okay, just saying. So, I mean, the idea of making Bitcoin outlawed, I don't agree with it. But I tell you what, the things that are happening right now with Bitcoin has me very excited. I want to see, I'm really curious what's going to happen when we break 20K. Breaking 20K with this dynamic. How long is it going to hold? And that's what I want you guys to tell me. All right, guys, so listen, that's all I have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Peace out.